One of the reasons that I really love dinosaurs is that we don't know what they look like. I mean, we have a pretty good idea, but we don't know what they look like. We can guess and estimate, but we don't know fully 100%. And that to me makes them probably the most fascinating subject on the planet. My name is Mark and I absolutely love dinosaurs, and I really love paleo art and paleo artists. I have so much admiration for people who can reconstruct these long extinct creatures from facts and information given to them by scientists. That's probably one of the reasons I love dinosaurs so much, is that although the scientists do an amazing job of describing the dinosaurs, it's the artists that really leave the impression on us as to what they actually look like. And I think that's really cool. I have dabbled with art on and off my entire life. We have a bit of a estranged relationship sometimes. Sometimes I have fully considered myself an artist, and sometimes I have considered that I never ever want to draw again. One of my favourite subjects to draw when I'm in the mood to do so is dinosaurs. I have been drawing dinosaurs for as long as I can remember. The very simple shape of a sauropod was one of the first things that I was able to construct from just watching hours and hours of Land Before Time. Even as recently as last summer, I was trying to draw dinosaurs found in the British Isles with the plumage of birds found in the British Isles. I don't know why I thought that was a fun idea, but I was doing that. It's a really interesting subject, and it takes a hell of a lot of knowledge to be able to do it properly. And I want to be able to do it properly. I'm no great artist. I'm no great scientist. I'm no great paleontologist. I love drawing. I love dinosaurs, and I love drawing dinosaurs. And I wanted to take some time to learn to do it properly. And I thought, why not do that on film? So I can go back and see how I've progressed. So today is the very start of my journey to teaching myself via the internet to become a real paleo artist. So we've got to start somewhere. And I guess the place to start is with how would I draw a dinosaur now? I have this lovely leather-bound sketchbook. My wife got me it for Christmas, I think. It's got my initials engraved on it. It's really lovely. I wanted to save it for the correct project. And I think this is the project. So in this sketchbook, I'm going to draw some dinosaurs. And my target is that by the end of the year, I will be able to call myself, and you will be able to call me, a paleo artist without any formal training. Is it possible? Probably not, but I'm going to have a go anyway. So as I mentioned, my journey with art has been up and down through my life, and it's in a bit of a down at the moment. I haven't drawn this year, really, which is sad because I do love doing it. Some years ago, I went through some trauma which drove me to drink a lot and not look after my brain in the way that I should have done. And I swear blind that since then, I haven't been able to visualize on the page like I used to be able to. I used to be able to open a blank page of a sketchbook and go, I can see what's meant to be there and put it there. Basically just trace what was in my brain. I can't do that anymore. Maybe it's just age, maybe it's trauma, I don't know. But I can still draw, I just have to work a lot harder at it. One of the things I can do is doodle when I'm not concentrating. So if I'm just looking at the camera and talking to you whilst doodling, then maybe something will come out. The other thing I can do is take a lot of time and construct the drawing in parts. And that's what I think I'm going to do first. So my first step in my road to becoming a paleo-artist is going to be to just open the sketchbook and draw a dinosaur. No reference, no practice, just draw a dinosaur and see where I am right now. And I think there's only one dinosaur I can start with, the most famous dinosaur that ever lived. It's probably the one that's ingrained in our brains the most when you say dinosaur, and that's the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So, first up, let's draw a T-Rex and see where we're at. So like I mentioned, it's been a long time since I've drawn anything, really. So I'm going to start with very simple construction. Now, when I was young, I did want to be... It's a good start, isn't it? I did want to be a Disney cartoonist. That was my kind of lifelong dream. I'm going to go fully profile for this because I think it will make things a bit easier. So I sort of taught myself how to draw cartoons to an extent. And it's all about sort of building blocks, right? This already feels quite uncomfortable. Now, to my knowledge, T-Rex had lips, but I do want to show some teeth because it's T-Rex. So we're going to open that mouth up, but do just like a little ridge there to show that there was some lippage going on. And then let's get some teeth involved because this was the most almighty predator that ever lived. It's been a really long time since I've drawn, but already I'm doing better than I thought I was going to do, which is great. So we need some sort of eyebrow like this, and I'm guessing the eyes are sort of quite sunken in. There's definitely a cartoony feel to this, but that's okay. That's just where I am. That's what I'm used to, and we can work with that. I feel like there's a good foundation here, maybe. I think if you were to show someone that face, they would probably be able to say, yeah, that's a T-Rex. T-Rex is definitely chunkier than we thought it was when I was a kid, for certain. So I need to bear that in mind. So let's get a nice big body involved. And these great big kind of strong legs is what I envision. What am I doing? Three toes, I think. And do they have a little back claw? I'm not really sure. I'm going to leave it without. Let me know if I've missed something there. And then let's get its big belly in and the back leg as well. More of a simpler shape, maybe the underside of a foot there. Okay, it's looking like a chunker, and I feel like the neck needs to display some of that chunk a bit more, and maybe it needs to look a bit more like muscle, actually, because we say chunky T-Rex, but what we really mean is big and powerful T-Rex. And this tail is unfortunately going to go off the page. That was a mistake I made. Straight up, I was not thinking about the size of page that I was using. And we need another arm in the background there. Let's just sort of give those a bit of shading just to show they're not on the same plane of existence. And maybe some teeth from the other side as well. And a tongue, actually. They have tongues there. Okay. There we go. Less than 5 minutes. No reference, just off the top of my head. No practice, haven't drawn in a very long time. That is the standard that we're starting with. But I'm not upset. It's not that bad. There's a lot of improvement needed, but it's an okay start. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that as a starting point. I really struggle drawing without reference, and with dinosaurs, the only reference you have is other people's art. And that's tricky. What I'd love to be able to do is go out and take a photo, my own photo of a real life T-Rex, and draw that, but I can't do that. but I have thought of a way that I can feel like I'm doing that. Welcome to Jurassic World Evolution 2. Now, to those of you who are Jurassic Park fans like myself, this might look a little bit like the Biosyn Sanctuary. It's not. I call this my photo studio. Here I'm going to have some dinosaurs roaming free that I can go out and find and take photos of and draw from, like I was drawing from real photos that I'd taken. That's the idea. So I built myself a little compound here, not for much reason, but the important thing is my Jeep. So I'm going to take direct control and head off into the wilderness to find myself a T-Rex, which sounds hilariously reckless. Okay, I've been driving for quite some time now, and there are only 2 T-Rex in what is quite a large map, so I'm having a bit of trouble finding them the old-fashioned way. I might have to just use the inbuilt map in the game, but it's more fun to try and hunt them down, listen to their calls, and try and figure out where they are. I'll come back to you once I've got sight of one. And there she is, hidden in the trees. Let's see if we can get some photographs without her noticing us, or at least without her attacking us. That would be good. So if I pull up on this side, because I want her from a similar angle to my drawing, which would be good. So from her right side, too many trees in the way here. Nice roar. That would have been good. I'm going to need her in a bit more open space. I think I just need to follow her quietly until we get to a clearing or something similar, so that I can get a decent picture that's just relatively similar to what I've already drawn. It does almost look like she's spotted us, which is quite scary. Okay, she can walk in front of us, that's fine. That makes for a good photo. That makes for a really good photo. Okay. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think that's over. Okay. No, we're okay. We're still going. And she's calmed down a bit now. Right. I'm going to take a few more photos and see if I can get one that matches closely to what I'm looking for. Well, you can't say that I don't put myself in danger for my craft. This is the picture I've ended up with. I've chosen it because it's in a very similar sort of orientation to the picture that I drew before. So, using this reference, I'm going to draw another Tyrannosaurus Rex. Okay, right. Take 2. I'll try and be a bit more careful about spacing this time. In Jurassic Park, it has this sort of hump on the neck before it comes down. It's definitely a slimline T-Rex compared to what we probably think it looked like today. From what I understand, I'm no expert, but I was right about the big, powerful legs. Always big, powerful legs. I apologise if I breathe quite heavily. It's what I tend to do when I'm concentrating. Some people stick their tongues out. Some people, I don't know, make the noises of the animals probably. I breathe like I'm having an asthma attack. I am asthmatic, but I'm not having an asthma attack. I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing, so apologies if that's irritating at any point. Once again, unable to fit the whole tail in. That's definitely something that I'm going to have to work on. But already seeing an improvement in the shape of the animal, which is good to see. So, it's definitely going to be a bit more muscle definition in here as well, hopefully. This is obviously still cheating because this idea of a T-Rex is another artist's impression. So I am, still doing what I said I didn't want to do, which is just drawing another artist's artwork. However, the little mission of going out and capturing the photo myself just makes it feel a little less plagiaristic, I guess is my way of looking at it. Yeah, just for my own benefit. Okay, that comes down more like that. A massive head, this thing, doesn't it? Huge. Where's that nostril? Is it in there? I'm feeling like I've missed something here in this drawing that's just kind of making it look, I don't know, a bit weird. Maybe once the all-important teeth go in, it will start to come alive a bit more. I don't want to claim this image as my own artwork because really and truly it's not, but it's an exercise for me to understand how other people have reconstructed these animals in the past. And I think, you know, just starting my paleo art journey, it's going to be kind of important to understand how others have done it rather than just going straight into trying to do the impossible myself, which we saw from the first drawing doesn't end up with great results. Like I said, I wasn't overly disappointed, but definitely could have been better. Now his feet aren't visible in the reference photo I've got, so I am going to make up the feet. Hopefully it's nothing too disorientating when you look at the final drawing. There we go. That's my second basic sketch. I think what I want to do is get some of the values of the light and the shade in there as well. So I'm going to use some alcohol-based markers and just put in some shadows. So I've got a series of browns and oranges, and obviously that all important scrap envelope in between. These are very, very cheap alcohol markers that I found in B&M. They're not in any way professional. I'm just going to do a cheeky little sort of swatch on the next page, just so I can understand what the colours look like when they're down on the paper. So that's quite a thick one. That's 245. Barn red. This one, which is 216, which is bright orange. This one, which is 256, which is warm caramel. This one, which is probably my favourite name for a colour ever, brown grey. Chocolate, 118. And finally, terracotta is 21. Now I think my lightest colour here is 104, so I kind of want to do a bit of a base layer in 104 and then build up from there. So my light source is sort of coming through the trees. I'm not going to go that complex with it, so I'm going to have a light source that comes from up here. So we want some areas of shadow. Remember, this is going to be sort of the top layer of shadow, and leave some highlighted areas at the top. And as we go down, I'm thinking, this has been a long time since I've used anything like this. Feeling a bit out of my comfort zone, I won't lie. I'm thinking we use a bit further down where it's darker, we use this more as a highlight than... Yes? No? Am I on the right tracks here? I don't know. Hear that heavy breathing going? Awful. Awful, isn't it? You're annoyed by it. I've had to live with it my whole life. Just, you know, deal with it. Okay. That's my first sort of layer of colour. It doesn't look like it makes a lot of sense right now. I want to go to my next darkest, which is going to be 256 maybe, which is the warm caramel. So I'm just going to drop down, make some areas even darker. This feels like, I don't know, I might have taken the wrong approach here, but we've started now. Got to commit. Trust the process, you know? I don't know what the process is. I probably should have looked a process up or, you know, practiced or something, but this is the whole point of this video. Is this whole series really is going to be exploratory, teaching myself as I go. Sometimes it's going to cause me to mess things up, and this might just be one of those times, but we'll see. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in with the brown grey. That was the light one, right? 104, yeah, brown grey. And I'm going to try and blend some of this back in so that the colour doesn't look so sharp on top. That's the plan. May or may not work. These are horrifically cheap twin markers, they're called. There we go. Right. So now I need to go even darker. So darker than 256. Let's go for the 245. Let's get that nice red colour in there for some of the really dark areas. So around the mouth, around the eye too. And just sort of under that ridge there. Along the sort of the bicep and the back arm. In the sort of creases of the leg, this side of the leg. My light source is this way, I've got to try and remember that. And the back leg. Like that. Okay. Gonna go back to my, what was it? 256, and just try and pull some of that in. That does seem to have worked with the other one, so hopefully it works with this one too. So far, it could be worse. Definitely could be better, but it could be worse. And finally, I'm going for chocolate for the real depth in here. And I'm going to go for the thin nib so I can really pick out those darkest areas. And I think this should be the magic kind of finishing touch to the colour situation. I'm hoping. Sort of ground some of what I've done before. Like that. And finally, okay. I think think that's something of an illustration. It's missing something. It's missing some outlines and it's missing some highlights. So I'm gonna have a little think about that. So I'm gonna do something a bit outlandish. I've got a rose pink and I'm just gonna drop in a top line of rose pink as a sort of, maybe the sun is setting in this picture and the rose pink is the sunlight shimmering off the top of this dinosaur. That's my theory. And even on the teeth. And I've also got this fine liner, which I'm hoping works. Looks like it. And I'm going to draw some of the sort of details that need to be plucked out to make it look like a drawing and not a mess. Now look, it's not perfect, but it's also not terribly bad. I can tell that that's meant to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I think most people would be able to too. And although the shading and the kind of drawing skills need a bit of improvement, I still think it displays what it's meant to display. Not a perfect work of paleo art, but not a bad starting place. If I produced a perfect picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex now, there wouldn't be much point in making this a series. So, this is the plan. We're going to come back to this in 10 episodes time, and we're going to see what improvement I've made. By the end of this sketchbook, I want to be drawing almost professional grade paleo art. That's what I'm looking for. It's a tall order, it's a hard task. Come and join me for the journey. You might learn a thing or two as well. You may even be able to produce your own paleo art off the back of my learnings, which would be amazing. Next week, I'm going to dive a bit deeper into actual anatomy and the theory of reconstructing dinosaurs from fossils. And I'm going to watch and learn from some of the professionals, or the nearly professionals, on how to do it properly. But this has been a great exercise to show me where I'm at and how much I can improve in one session. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time when we'll do a deeper dive into dinosaur anatomy. See you then.